Quakers and the regular season champions, the Columbia Lions, set to get things going. Still to come, 7:30 Eastern Time. Should be a great showdown between Princeton with Ivy Madness 2025, the 7th edition here at Brown University. The opening tip is controlled by Columbia, the regular season champions in the home whites.
And one thing about Columbia, they want to play with pace. They want this to be an up-tempo game. Expect Penn to mix up some defenses to try to slow down this offense.
And Penn cannot pass up opportunities to get rebounds on the glass, and they missed one there, so it's going to be Columbia ball on the baseline. The Penn starting five: Simone Sawyer, Matea Gale at the point, Katie Collins, the rookie of the year in the Ivy League, Lizzie Gretsch, and we talked about Almquist. The feed inside, broken up and taken away by Penn. So an early turnover, and here is the sophomore from Woodstock, Georgia, running the show for Mike McLaughlin, Matea Gale.
Matea Gale, last year's freshman of the year in the Ivy League, has improved her ability to score, not just from the outside, but off the bounce. The key for Penn today, and Mike McLaughlin said it, I need one of our wings to knock down some big shots.
Turnover by Gale, taken away by Cecilia Collins. Collins for three off the wing, won't go down for Riley Weiss, and here comes Gale with the rebound. You see the starting five for Columbia with Rathew and Page joining Henderson, Weiss, and Collins. And the first bucket of the game belongs to Penn. It's a three for the Quakers to get things started here in Providence.
And as soon as Sawyer knocked that shot down, she went immediately to find Kitty Henderson just to slow the transition game of Columbia down.
Sawyer 27% from beyond the arc. Henderson, 8 on the shot clock.
And you see the double team to the low post.
Henderson makes a move to get open for three, lets it go with 2 on the clock, can't get it. Batted out, fought for, and a foul is going to be called on Penn as Gale gets called for the contact. Head coach at Columbia is a Columbia alum. You're familiar with the story of Megan Griffith by now. If not, we have a couple of hours to fill you in, because I think we need that long to talk about the turnaround for this Columbia program. At-large bid to NCAA tournament last year, and here they are, regular season champs this year, Christy.
I think the ultimate compliment is when you know no one outside of the Ivy wants to play you, and that's the reputation that Megan has created here at Columbia. They're well coached, and here's what I love this team. Tallest player 6'1", Eric, and they're one of the top offensive rebounding teams in the country. They can knock it down from deep. They're a difficult matchup for teams.
Collins at the line, gets the first points of the game for the Lions.
And one thing for Columbia this year, they're doing a lot more pressing than they did a year ago. You'll see them try to trap on those sidelines especially.
Here's Almquist for the Ivy League Rookie of the Year, Katie Collins. And one and done, the rebound for Susie Rathew. Columbia's game is transition. They love to push and a little too aggressive. And it's going to be Penn basketball.
Eric, the biggest area of improvement that I see for Penn under Mike McLaughlin has been the increase in the defensive pressure. You talked about the youth of this team early on. January was rough for them, and then they started figuring some defensive things out, especially how they're doubling the low post, and from there they started getting better, more rebounds, and that has opened up the assist, which therefore means more scoring.
Remember last year, Christy, Ivy Madness semifinals, Penn lost to Princeton in the semis by 5. It was a one-possession game in the final minute. They really played great, battled in that game. He's happy with where his team is right now, as you just mentioned, their improvement.
And the last time that Columbia and Penn played was in late January. So
long time ago.
It's a brand new team for Columbia.
4 on the shot clock, and a traveling violation is going to be called on Gale. Penn usually does a good job taking care of the basketball, turning it over 13 times. Again, they did turn it over 16 times in the regular season finale. That was a loss to Princeton on Saturday. Tigers shot great in that game. New season now, though. Penn's just hoping it's more than a one-game second season. Almquist got a hand in there. Check it. It's Lizzie Gretsch who got the steal, so a turnover for Columbia.
If you're a Penn fan, you have to be ecstatic about the defense so far that this team is showing here. Already 3 turnovers for Columbia on the game.
2 for Penn so far. Here's Collins. Works hard inside, looking for a whistle, didn't get it. Gretsch fighting for the rebound, and it's pulled away by Raffew. Columbia so far is 0 for 4 from the floor. To add to those turnovers you talked about. Here's Kitty Henderson. Shut off by Gretsch. Open three on the way. Another miss for Columbia, so a cold start for the Lions here at Brown.
Well, that's one shot that I like for Columbia, but overall, I haven't been pleased with their shot selection so far, and it's because Penn is doing a good job of containing dribble penetration so far.
Outside, Collins will launch a three. That won't drop down, and Collins controls the rebound. Here is Riley Weiss, sophomore from Hewlett, New York on Long Island.
Eric, so far, Penn's transition defense has been locked on. They've been finding the ball handler, and they've been matching up with the shooters in transition.
Raffew on the drive. I don't know if she's looking to make the extra pass to Page, perhaps. And it's going to be a foul on Perry Page. So Columbia will go to the bench. They'll bring Raffew out. And Mia Broom, first year from Seattle, will come in, playing 18 minutes a game. And here's that Columbia pressure off the foul on Columbia.
Well, Megan Griffin can go a little bit smaller, give Raffew a blow because of the versatility of Cecilia Collins. Now she's moving to the 4 spot, matching up with the freshman Collins. And that is where you do not want to catch the inbounds pass if you're Penn against this trapping defense.
But if you have a problem, just get it in the hands of Stina Almquist, and the senior will calmly push it across half court and gets it to the hand of the sophomore point guard, Gale.
So 15 seconds on the shot clock, and Penn is just now starting their half-court offense.
Gale throws it up, couldn't get it, and another rebound for Columbia. Looking ahead for Collins. Again, good transition defense by Penn, getting back, getting organized. Good start for them defensively against the Columbia team that loves to get up and down the court. It's the #1 scoring team in the Ivy at 74 points a game.
Well, when I asked Mike McLaughlin, before I even got it out, he said the keys are transition defense, and we've got to keep them off the glass.
He knows you that well. This is your third Ivy Madness, so he knew what you were looking for, and that was a question about the pace of this game. And, you know, if you're Penn, you got to love what's happening so far. It's low scoring, but Columbia's had to work. Now Columbia will go to the bench. And returning from injury, sophomore from Serbia, Maria Vilas will come on. Didn't play the last 4 with an ankle injury. Her last game was February 16th. She was in the starting lineup this season, so good to see her back for Columbia wearing number 12.
Well, we talked about the growth of this Columbia program, and so they have their sights set on NCAA tournament. So it's great to see Maria back getting some action before whether it's going to be, and I know Ivy League wants 3 teams in for Columbia. Will it be the NCAA tournament or that other one that we won't talk about right now?
One of two. One area where Columbia struggles is at the free throw line. Last in the Ivy, 61%. So you get a tight game, that could be a difference maker. Substitution for Penn, Sanaya Caldwell, junior from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey's on the floor. Open look, that won't drop down for 3. And Avilash has the rebound. Henderson, three-pointer is good in the corner. Kitty Henderson, her 26th made 3 this season. She just does everything well, especially defend, the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year, getting things done offensively. Collins sticks with it off the miss. Henderson showing some of that defense, stripped it away, but Penn still has it. Sawyer, kind of a quick release. And here come the Lions. Pushed by Broom. Broom leans in and gets the foul called on Caldwell, and that will get us.
3 straight Coach of the Year in the Ivy, and it didn't happen overnight, but she came in with a plan. The former Princeton assistant coach came back to her alma mater with a plan to elevate this program and put it into national prominence.
#1 on the all-time wins list in Columbia history. And at the free throw line, Mia Broom ready with the second free throw. You know, Columbia's got a 4, maybe a 5-point lead, depending on what happens here with Broom. She makes it a 5-point lead. You know, she talked about this team having a sense of calm because they've been through this before. You could say they looked a little tight in the opening minutes. How does an early timeout help a team like Columbia, the regular season champs, find that reset button?
Well, I think it's just listening to one another, listening to the head coach, just taking a breath. Because, yes, I thought their shoot-around yesterday was the most relaxed we have seen them in Ivy Madness as they prepared. It's still a different thing come game day. These players want this. And we can talk about the NCAA, but I think any player in the Ivy will tell you it's about winning the Ivy championship.
Missed connection, fourth turnover for Columbia in the early going. They averaged 13 turnovers a game. They turned it over just 8 times in the regular season finale against Cornell, which was a 91-58 win, which locked up the first outright Ivy League regular season title after sharing the last 2 with Princeton.
And so you saw another press from Columbia, just trying to force someone else to bring the ball up the floor, just to make Penn have to work a little bit harder to get to the offense.
Shot clock wasn't moving. So the officials setting it to 27, and it'll be inbounded on the side by Caldwell. Mike McLaughlin's team young again. Christie, remember last year, 33% of their scoring freshmen. This year, 30% of their scoring coming from freshmen.
Well, I'll raise you one. When you put the freshmen and sophomores together, Eric, they're averaging almost 40 points a game, which is 61% of the total scoring. The future's very bright for this Penn program.
They're looking to settle down a little bit. They let him play on. Almquist ran into Avilash, and here comes Kitty Henderson. Getting back quickly on defense. Collins rips down the rebound after the D by Gale.
So I'll say it again, right now, Penn's doing a good job of getting one-on-one defense set, because when Columbia excels, they're able to get a step on their defender, drive, and then kick the open shooters around the perimeter.
Been a defensive battle so far, and war of attrition at the moment between these two teams. Another turnover for Penn, and a couple of substitutions for both sides. Checking in for Penn is sophomore Abby Sharp. She will come on for Sawyer. And Cecilia Collins back on for Columbia. Here's Collins. Collins in her second season with Columbia, transferred over from Bucknell. Second team all-conference a year ago, first team all-conference this year. Columbia dominating on the glass. Raffew the putback and one.
We told you at the top, Columbia is the 6th best offensive rebounding team in the country. This time it's Susie Raffew getting the position, getting the rebound, getting the and one opportunity.
That's a big foul, too, for Penn, Christie, because Latea Gale goes to the bench with 2 personal fouls. So Gale to the bench with 2. Ashna Tomby, freshman from Plano, Texas, playing in her 24th game of the season. She's on in a big spot here for Penn. She wears number 0 and has her first touch.
Well, it's more of this 1-2-2 after every score. And here comes the trap on the sideline.
Tough spot to be on the sideline. And Mike McLaughlin knows his freshman dribbled into a very dangerous spot.
On the floor, so I like the timeout. And then it's, again, deep breath right now. I'm sure he reminded them they're going to press every time they score. Avoid the sidelines, because that's how you can beat this Columbia pressure.
They look for Almquist. Got to try to get her going, but Raffew ready there defensively. Caldwell with 8 on the shot clock. Away from the basket is Almquist. Going to try to do it off the dribble with 3, with 2, with 1, and the Columbia defense gets another stop.
Well, even before the ball came out near half court, give Broom credit. She came off her player and was digging in on Almquist a little bit. That's why from the low block area, Almquist didn't take it, and then she just had to throw something up as the shot clock was going down.
4th turnover for the Quakers. Here's Henderson. Entry pass. Move made inside, and a good one by Raffew, who's got 2 more. She had a good game against Cornell. 10 points, 7 boards, 7 assists for Raffio, and she's been dialed in defensively, especially here in this first quarter. Look how tough she's making it on Almquist. First team All-Ivy League selection. Collins with a hesitation.
And Collins just backing down the smaller defender and then sets up Raffio. Unfortunately, she couldn't bring it in.
Didn't give up possession. Collins batted around and into the hands of Almquist. So Penn gets a stop. Columbia will bring the defense back. 1 minute to go in the first quarter. On the shot clock. Here's Caldwell. Almquist on Collins. Lost the handle. Another turnover. Columbia has held Penn to 3 points in this first quarter. It's a 13-0 run right now for the Lions.
Well, the offense is starting to settle in for Columbia. You see the screen on the ball, the roll by Susie Raffio. On the roll, Eric, she just got positioning on the low post player, and then I love how patient she was on the catch to let the defender fly by.
Freshman Sarah Miller comes into the game for Penn. You can see Raffio, after that good, hard work, getting a rest here at the end of the first quarter.
Raffio already with 6 rebounds in this game.
Maria Aribola is in for Columbia, number 15. On the drive, Henderson shut off. Gets help from Riley Weiss. Henderson got a hand on it. Columbia in a bit of a scramble and a traveling violation. Penn gets a stop, and they've got plenty of time for a final shot here to close out the quarter.
I mean, Eric, as we see in every conference tournament, these teams know one another really well. They're defending first options and plays. These teams have to be patient and try to attack and get second and third options.
So you see Gale coming on here for this final offensive possession of the quarter, playing with 2 personal fouls.
You need points right now if you're Penn, so I like this call.
Gale's got it, has to go. There she is with 6. Henderson there defensively. Gale will launch for a 3. That was much needed. Great move by Penn to get Gale on the floor, even with the 2 fouls. Close up so we don't show the empty seats behind us. Now there are watch parties for Columbia women's basketball.
And there's only Penn views for anything they're going to show. I mean, it's remarkable the national attention that the Ivy League is getting, and what each of these schools is doing to support their women's basketball programs, and it's well-deserved.
Remember, Columbia played at home for the Ivy Madness title last year, lost to Princeton, but were an at-large selection to the NCAA tournament, lost to Vanderbilt in the NCAAs.
Eric, with Matea Gale on the bench, how does Penn get Almquist touches? That time it was a set play, but the pass, just way too much loft on it. Otherwise, Almquist should have had an easy 2.
Columbia making everything difficult right now for the Quakers, and turnover number 6 for Penn.
The silver lining for Penn, dead ball turnover, so you can get your defense set, and it's not allowing Columbia to get out and run in transition.
Collins turns and scores, averaging just under 14 points a game. Good for 7th in the Ivy League. Went for 21, a team high in the regular season finale against Cornell. Caldwell, back out to Collins. Penn needs to get Collins going here. Has not scored, she's 0 for 4 from the field. Columbia's defense making it difficult on Sarah Miller, the freshman. 4 on the shot clock. Penn's got to launch. Almquist does from the logo. Caught the iron on the bank. And another rebound for Columbia. Collins trying to work with Page.
And you see Penn switching those screens around the perimeter, trying to prevent Columbia from being able to turn the corner.
6 on the shot clock into the hands of Henderson. Shot clock down to 2 on the run off the window, beating the clock. Avilash, her first points.
Welcome back, Avilash. You just see the speed, her ability to create off the bounce for the Lions.
Double-digit lead for the Lions. Second quarter, the winner to take on the winner of our next game between Princeton and Harvard tomorrow evening here at Brown.
I mean, we talk a lot about the offense of Columbia, but right now it's their defense. Penn can't get anything going until that drive to the bucket.
Strong take by the freshman from Phoenix. Sarah Miller played just 3 minutes against Princeton in the regular season finale, averaging 6 points a game, comes up with a much-needed hoop for the Quakers. Bola. Collins on the turnaround. Little too strong, another rebound. It's Page on the offensive glass. A lot of second chance opportunities. Henderson trying to work for another one, and she does for Columbia. Lions continue to dominate on the glass.
Well, Columbia's starting to find their flow on the offensive end. It starts great back screen by Cecilia Collins. Because she set such a good screen, her defender had to help. She was open. And then Maria Avilash drives by her defender. Great touch around the rim.
Foul number 20 first team's first of the board.
Plenty of substitutions for both teams. Bola stays on the court, gets the inbound. Riley Weiss is fouled attempting a three-pointer, and it's the third personal on Matea Gale.
Eric, I agree with Coach McLaughlin bringing Matea Gale back in the game. They're struggling to score, but the number one thing for Gale is she's got to concede some shots. Flies out, and it's more so, in my opinion, on that one. Weiss's landing spot came inward where Gale was already established.
I think I've worked with you enough. That is you respectfully disagreeing with the call.
I would respectfully agree with that statement.
So here is Weiss. Christy talked about at the top of the show how she's made the jump this year. One thing for her, Christy, is trying to erase the memory of last year. She scored 2 points total for Columbia in Ivy Madness in the 2 games, was 1 of 7 from the field. Wasn't as big a part of the offense last year. Abby Shue was the star of the show and dominated in many ways, but you can see turnovers are an issue. Gale will now leave the floor. She was still on the floor waiting for Caldwell to come on, so she goes to the bench with 3. Huge.
I mean, Gale leads Penn in assists, averaging a little over 4 a game, and the offense has just been so stagnant because she's a table setter. What I mean by that is she can beat her defender and find easy looks for her teammates. Now someone else needs to be able to set up this offense.
Foul's going to be called.
Actually, it was out of bounds.
Oh, just a tip out of bounds.
Yeah.
Got you. So
Columbia's upset because they want a stop every time.
They've had it most times here so far today. Penn just with 8 points on the board. Quakers are 2 of 12 from the field so far. On the other end, Columbia's 3 of 13 from the field, so it's not like they're lighting it up. That's helping Penn stay within shouting distance, and that helps. Caldwell knocks down the 3.
And so much is going to be on Caldwell and Sawyer's shoulders now with Matea Gale on the bench for Penn.
Sawyer doesn't mind that. She's been good against Columbia this season. 14 points in each of the 2 games, 11 of 20 from the field. Caldwell and Sawyer trying to pick up the slack with Gale on the bench. The feed inside, good unselfish basketball by Columbia. 17 assists a game for the Lions. They're back on top by 8.
And you see Columbia just relentless with the pressure right now with the jump, trying to force another turnover.
Another 3 on the way. There's Collins looking for the putback. Another one off the mark. Almquist on the offensive glass, and the foul's going to be called on Raffu, who just gave a shove to Gretsch.
Well, Eric, Penn needs points. So Caldwell recognizes the defender goes under the on-ball screen. She stops and pops from deep. And then Page, off the dribble penetration, recognizes that Raffu's defender rotated to her, finds her big for the easy two. Again, Columbia knows these plays. They're taking away first options. Penn's got to be able to read the defense.
Henderson with the steal for the Lions. 6 minutes to go in the first half. Columbia had a 13-0 run in the first quarter to jump in front, and now a turnover on the Lions. It'll be their sixth, Christy.
Raffu has rolled quickly the last couple of possessions, and her teammates have not found her immediately when she's been open. That time they found her late. Defense rotated. She shuffled her feet.
Anderson gets hands in there as well, and it's going to be a turnover. So Columbia, Milosh back on the floor for the first time in about a month. Going to take a little time for her to get back into game rhythm.
Well, I think we know Columbia wants to play with pace. I just think they're sped up right now. Versus, I'd rather see them work a little bit deeper into shot clocks, execute a little bit more on the offense, and create higher percentage looks for one another.
It does feel like Columbia should be up by more than 8 right now with how they're playing defensively, but the turnovers and the cold shooting have hurt the Lions. Almquist, nothing coming easy right now. What a follow for the Quakers. Brooke Suttle got in there for her first points.
Well, for Penn right now, you just got to create offense any way you can. And right now, they're playing with an extra pep on the offensive end.
Sawyer trying to make it tough on Henderson. Back out to Weiss. Defended by the senior Gretsch. Raffu for Collins. 3 on the shot clock for Columbia. Tough shot and a foul on the jump shooter, Riley Weiss. That will send her to the line when we come back to just the winner of this tournament here. Or there could be 3, or somewhere in the middle like last year, 2. There's still a lot in play here at Ivy Madness.
Absolutely, and you hear me say this all the time. When you're a head coach, you want to control what you can control. So for Megan Griffith right now, it is get the win today, get the win tomorrow, and then you can sleep well Saturday night going into Selection Sunday. And right now, her team seems a little tight on offense. I think they're almost too sped up. One thing I would like to see Columbia do better is hit Susie Raffu on the rolls. They've been late finding her consistently so far in this first half. So she goes and gets this ball herself.
Foul's going to be on Suttle. That's her first. And back to the free throw line for Columbia. So far, Christy, Columbia to the line for 12 attempts. This will be 13 and 14. No free throw attempts yet for Penn.
Well, and some of this is because we haven't seen Almquist really work, get the ball down on the block and be able to try to even draw contact through her scoring ability.
Mentioned the struggles for Columbia as a team. Raffu at the line, 39% at the stripe. And it's going to be a lane violation on Page. And Penn will have the basketball on the baseline. 8-point game. Penn needs to win this game, and they need to win tomorrow in order to make it to the NCAA tournament.
And so now Gretsch needs to be able to handle the ball pressure and then get her team in the half-court offense.
Almquist gets an open look for 3. First points for Almquist, their leading scorer, and 3rd in the Ivy at just shy of 18 points a game. I think Mike McLaughlin has to feel good about that. Almquist doesn't score until that moment, and they're down by 5. Suttle on the glass. And they've done a better job on the glass here in the second quarter compared to the first quarter, have the Quakers.
Absolutely. And honestly, they handled the pressure after the first little bit. and they've been able to get some good looks, but Subtle has set a couple of good screens to free Almquist. If you're Penn, just better screening, better cutting.
That one short from Sawyer. And here comes Page on the push. And a turnover again by Columbia. And you've mentioned it before. Sped up right now. Columbia just needs to take a breath and slow down. They're trying to win this game by halftime. It's a 40-minute game.
Well, and I think they're trying to win this. They're trying to get in the NCAA tournament right now in this next possession versus doing what they've done all season long. And when Columbia's playing at their best, it's unselfish basketball. It is ball versatile. It's scoring off a dribble penetration.
Lost out of bounds by Penn. Turnover for the Quakers. It'll be Columbia basketball. Let's take you down the previous step.
Well, Eric, we said it seems like Columbia should be up more, mainly because Almquist had not been getting shots. Subtle gets her the down screen. Almquist is wide open for her best look of the day.
10 turnovers now for the Quakers.
The other thing I'll say is because there's been so many turnovers, so many whistles because of the turnovers, there's no flow. That favors Penn because the pace of play is so slow right now for Columbia.
Penn averaging 66 points a game. Columbia 74 points a game, #1 in the Ivy League. Henderson on the reverse, can't get it. Tapped out, and a second chance again for the Lions. Collins looks for the Raffu screen. Raffu gets to the basket for 2 more. She has 9 to lead all scores. Inside of 3 minutes to play in the first half.
And I want to go back to, that was a second chance opportunity for Columbia. They're now up to 7 offensive rebounds in this game, averaging just over 16 a game.
Fresh, back to Subtle. Shut up on the baseline. Almquist launches and makes another 3. Stina Almquist, more of an inside presence for Penn this season. Just 16 threes made in the regular season, but 2 here in this quarter, and it's a 4-point game. Henderson will step back. Can't get the 3. Collins touched it last. It will be Penn basketball.
One of the high percentage shots in basketball is the 3 off of dribble penetration. Subtle drives. Raffu goes to overcommit to help. That's why Almquist was open for the 3.
Remember, Penn doing this, playing well in this quarter with 3 fouls on their point guard, Taya Gale.
And hats off to Caldwell because she's handling the ball pressure, getting her team into the half-court offense.
Collins tipped out of bounds by Perry Page. It will stay with Penn. 1:49 to go before halftime. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the major award winners in the Ivy League, and we will also take a little peek at what's to come. Harvard and Princeton, game number 2 here tonight at Brown.
I think a couple of people might be interested in the outcome of that game around the country.
Collins on the turnarounds, can't get it. Almquist got a hand on it, but here comes Page, who's a blur across half court, who's going all the way and draws the foul on Caldwell. That's her second.
When you want to play with pace, you need to have multiple players who can push tempo. That time, Page gets the rebound and just takes it coast to coast to get to the free throw line.
So Perry Page will head to the free throw line. Junior from Pittsburgh. Her season ended as a first year with an injury in a game against Penn. Came back last season, played 17 minutes a game. Averaged 5.5 points, but her numbers are up this year. Tied for the team lead in rebounding. She's been active on the glass here today and has been good against Penn this season, averaging better than 13 points a game in the 2 Columbia victories.
She's a good matchup defensively against Penn because we've talked about Almquist's versatility. Well, Page has it as well, and her ability to just show her athleticism and beat Penn off the glass is another way that she excels in this matchup.
Page has 3. Caldwell across half court will slow things down. Subtle back on the floor for the Quakers. Cuts to the basket. Good find by Caldwell, and the finish by Subtle. Brooke Suttle had scored a grand total, Christie, of 21 points in 17 regular season games, and she's made an impact off the bench for Penn here today. She's got 4 points, 2 of 2 from the field. They'll stay with Columbia.
Where our challenge that Suttle's making her impact felt on both ends, but it's her screening and her cutting without the ball, and her teammates are doing a great job of finding her. Came off the screen, teammate found her for the easy two.
Collins has to throw it over the top to Henderson. Henderson trying to go against Almquist. Great finish by Kitty Henderson for 2. Final minute, second quarter here at Pizzatola Center. Caldwell is open for 3. That's short, and a rebound for Broom.
I think Penn was going 2 for 1 there to make sure they get the ball back before the end of the half.
Anderson's got the call from Griffith on the Columbia bench. And now the Lions go to work with 9. Collins looking for the screen. Back out to Weiss, 2 on the shot clock. Great defense by Caldwell. I don't think she got it off in time. It's a shot clock violation and a stop for Penn. 10.8 to go in the quarter.
And I said it before, these teams know one another. The staff for Penn was screaming out the option of what was coming. Great defensive stand by Penn.
So Collins comes in for Penn now, Christie. McLaughlin can't take the chance like he did at the end of the quarter and get Gale on the court, can he, with the 3 point?
I don't think so. Again, you're within striking distance. It's just 6. You've got the opportunity now, most importantly, get the ball inbounded safely and get a shot off. But worst case, you're down 6 going into halftime with your starting point guard being on the bench the majority of this game.
Teresa Stuck, our lead official, is over at the monitor right now. I think probably just checking on the time here. 13.1 from 10.8. Oh, look at this by McLaughlin here. He will bring in Gale right now with the 3 fouls. This worked for them at the end of the first quarter. Remember, she hit that 3 to close out the quarter.
Well, you want to win a championship, you've got to make some gutsy calls, and this is a huge gut check for Penn.
So when you check the number of fouls, that's just foul number 2 on Columbia. So playing the foul game here with a couple to give, with 8.4 to go. So 2 team fouls now, still 2 to give for the Lions to really take Penn out of what they want to do here.
I would foul again.
There's Caldwell. Caldwell on the drive, leans in, got a pretty decent shot off, fell hard, and that will do it. Penn looking for the foul, not getting it. But all in all, good leader mode to start this third quarter.
Well, and her teammates gave her a lot to cheer about down this stretch, and so I'm really eager to see first 4 minutes of this half. Columbia was not in that locker room very long. I have a feeling the message was very quick. Take care of the ball. Let's slow down and execute in offense.
So now Caldwell getting the second half start, number 4 for the Quakers. Here's Henderson looking for Weiss on the post up against Caldwell. Drops it down low, and the finish. Susie Raffu having a big game for Columbia, into double figures now with 11.
And we talked about Penn's improvement defensively has been about the doubling of the low post. That time Columbia came out and exploited it.
Caldwell for Almquist. Awkward shot, wouldn't drop, and Kitty Henderson comes away for Columbia. Up quickly, good read by Caldwell to knock it away. It will be Columbia basketball.
Well, Penn wants to double the low block, Eric. And so as soon as Almquist leaves Raffu to go double, Raffu cuts to the rim, and she keeps the defender on her backside. 2 points for Columbia.
6 assists on 9 made field goals for the Lions. Here's Weiss. Almquist on the switch. Entry pass again, and another basket for the junior from Ipswich, England. Setting the pace for Columbia here in the semifinals. On the season, Christie averaging just under 7 points a game. She's got 13 today on 6 of 7 shooting.
I think the most impressive thing about Rafu's game is that she'll do whatever is needed for her team. You talked about the 7 assists in the win against Cornell. Well, today, her team needs her to score, and she's doing that.
Tried to go with the left-handed lead pass, turned it over, and then stepping in, it's a block or a charge. It is a blocking foul called. It was Page who took the contact.
Megan Griffith's not going to like this because it starts because of another turnover by Columbia. Page tries to rotate over to stop Sawyer. I think she got there just a little bit too late.
First free throw of the game for the Quakers. One of two for Sawyer at the line. Here comes Page on the push.
And Megan Griffin is telling her team, push, push, push. She wants to get this tempo up.
Collins on the post up. Muscles it up for two.
We know the Columbia guards can shoot the three, but they also are so good at posting up down low.
Collins now with 6, 2 of 7 from the floor. Sawyer. Caitlin Collins for Penn, 8 on the shot clock. Gretsch for Caldwell. Three-pointer. It's been big for Penn here today. Not this time. Off the mark is Sawyer. And then Almquist comes in to take it away for Penn, and giving the foul is Rafu after the turnover. Rafu's had a couple of turnovers to offset all the good things she's done here for Columbia in this game, and now picks up the foul.
I think it's another example of just Columbia trying to be too fast. Again, Rafu, get the ball, outlet to a guard, and then push pace in transition.
Rafu's going to head to the bench, but before she gets there, Megan Griffith's going to grab her for a little conversation.
Teachable moments is what coaches like to refer to those as.
Gale into the game with the 3 personal fouls. Kicks it for the open 3. No. Batted around and controlled by Penn. Second chance here for the Quakers.
Nice closeout by Page. Almquist would have had a 3.
Here's Gale with the 3. That won't drop, and Henderson has the rebound for Columbia.
I think it's important for Penn not to live and die by that 3, because with those missed 3s, you're providing Columbia the opportunity to get out and run because of the long rebounds.
They want to post up. Gale with the 3 personal fouls. Has to be careful with Collins. Collins works it outside. Three-pointer for Aribola. Timeout called by Penn.
Across the second and third quarter. He knows how explosive this offense can be for the Lions. And we talked about it. He has a young team. Keep them connected. Keep them dialed into what is most important, and that's next play.
First meeting between Penn and Columbia. Penn was up 1 at halftime at the Palestra. Game was tight in the 4th. Lions outscored Penn by 10 in the 4th quarter. They come out of the timeout and get a much-needed basket. Their first field goal of the second half.
And the fact that Penn came out and executed as well as they did, Mike McLaughlin is making the right calls as the head coach for Penn right now. His players just need to try to get some stops.
And that's going to be foul number 4 on Gale. Gale is complaining about, oh no, correction, it's not. Gale was complaining and protesting that it was on her, and it was not called on her. Here's that 3 by Collins, Christie. And then on the other end, Gale thought she had 4, and now she's stuck on 3.
But Eric, that's the game plan for Columbia. When Gale was at the table to check in a little while ago, Megan Griffin was telling her team, go at her. Yeah, at least let me get Almquist for that last call.
Almquist picked up the personal. Thank you, Christie. That's her first, and here is Gale, defended by Henderson. Last year's Ivy Rookie of the Year, defended by this year's Defensive Player of the Year. Suttle played some good minutes in that first half on the floor. Henderson got in the air. Jumper is off the mark. Collins got a hand on it, but it's picked up by Aribola. And now Penn's going to jump in on defense, and a timeout called by Columbia. So Penn mixing things up defensively.
Players right now.
You look at every other conference and how much it's changed to the point where you say sometimes, oh, I forgot that team is now in that conference. It's called the Ancient Eight for a reason. Not much has changed, so there is so much put into being the best team from the Ivy League. That's why Columbia celebrated in the regular season, and that's why you'll see a great celebration for the winner here tomorrow night. Beautiful feed inside and wide open. Perry Page for two.
And Eric, Penn mixed up the defense. I think it was to protect Gale, and they just had one miscue on a rotation, and Columbia made them pay.
15-point lead for the Lions. And that pass intended for Collins, thrown into the hands of the head coach, Mike McLaughlin. Back to that breakdown defensively.
Well, Penn had Columbia looking to see what was happening defensively. Went deep into the shot clock. Collins, unfortunately, didn't rotate. You see her flying out, thinking someone was open for three. That left Page open underneath.
Page now with 5 to go along with 6 rebounds and a steal. As Henderson will bring it across half court.
So Penn goes back to player now after that miscue.
Henderson behind the back, bounce pass, finish by Page. Beautiful dish by Kitty Henderson. Columbia pulling away here in the third. Three-pointers will be huge for Penn. No, Page can't get the rebound. Almost saved it to Collins. It'll be Penn basketball. Penn basketball on the baseline, 4:36 to go in the third quarter.
Again, so well scouted is Columbia of Penn sets on the baseline out bound. They were trying to get Almquist curling in. Well defended by Columbia.
Here's Henderson on the push the other way for Columbia off the Penn turnover. Columbia has outscored the Quakers 15-4 here in the third quarter.
And they've got the mass Columbia does that they wanted. Page was down low demanding the ball, but just never got out of the paint. 3-second call against Columbia.
Let's take you back to Kitty Henderson. You want to see that again?
I would love to see anything about Kitty Henderson. This is a huge member of the Kitty Henderson fan club. She saw Page cutting from that weak side, knew she couldn't go through the traffic, went around the back.
Inside of 4 to play. Third quarter, semifinal number 1 here at Ivy Madness, Brown University. Almquist was open. They finally get it to her, and she finishes. First points of the second half for the senior from Sweden. She's got 8.
Last time down, Columbia ran a play to get the switch. Gale on a big down low. This time they don't need it because of a great slip by Raffu.
Raffu tracking it down in the corner. She's got it. She's been all over the floor, both ends here today. And a second chance here again for Columbia. Lions are a +12 in rebounding margin on the cuts, and a foul will send Raffu to the free throw line.
Raffu's just dictating play on both ends of the floor. She's doing it on the defensive end with her size, and she's so active offensively. This time they got her off the screen and roll, found her on that roll.
Riley Weiss coming on for Columbia as Henderson will head to the bench. And to the line goes Raffu. Became a starter second half of last season for this Columbia team that won 23 games last year.
And with the made free throw comes the full court pressure.
1 of 2 for Susie. She's got 14. Here's Gale, approaching 3 minutes to go in the third. Gale leans in. Defensively, if Lihash was there, Penn sticks with it. Almquist for 2.
I know Gail's been frustrated with the officiating today, but she just got to play. Every time she takes a shot, she's wanting a call. And Columbia's got the mismatch they want down low.
Big time. Help comes from the backside. It's knocked out of bounds by Sawyer and will stay with Columbia.
Great team defense by Penn.
Lions will go to the bench. I see Simmons, first year from Brockton, Mass. About an hour or so, depending on traffic. There's usually a little between here and Brockton. Thrown away by Columbia. Mistake there by the Lions. Almquist is going to take it to the basket. Couldn't get it. Penn on the glass. Good hustle play by Suttle to get down there, and she was fouled with 2:37 to go in the third quarter.
I think Almquist was trying to draw the foul and just didn't quite get the angle she needed. But great job with Gail to get that second chance opportunity.
You can see Mike McLaughlin hot. He wanted the foul called on the Almquist take to the basket. Ball is tied up, and possession arrow will keep it with Penn. Saw Henderson get back into the game, and Collins will get back in. Gretsch coming on for Penn.
It's a play by Suttle to get on the floor with that. Eric, she came in today averaging 6 minutes a game and just over 1 point a game. Her presence here has been huge for Penn. Handled the ball, has defended, and she's already up to 10 minutes in this game.
Here's Gale, defended by Weiss. Gale swings it, but taken away by Henderson, who was there for the steal. Weiss. Columbia trying to make it back to the Ivy Madness final. They came up short on their home floor last year. Strong third quarter here. Putting the Lions on top by 14, and the foul is going to be called. I think it's on Gretsch, who is working inside. It is.
Both Collins and Henderson are difficult matchups for this Penn ball club because if you go with speed because of their dribble penetration opportunities, they can both post you up as bigger guards.
Gale going to the bench for Penn. Remember, she's been battling foul trouble. Henderson to trigger the inbound. Here's Weiss.
Nice switch out there.
They're subtle defensively, making it tough on Collins. Henderson, she's shut off. Back outside for Collins. Collins to Henderson, 3 on the shot clock. Henderson's gonna have to force one up and gets it to drop. I think she'll prefer the style points of the behind-the-back bounce pass, but beating the shot clock off the window for 2, putting Columbia on top by 16 will be a close second. Almquist on the drive, and one. The senior says, we're not done yet. Chance for a 3-point play for Stina Almquist.
Well, Eric, you need your seniors to step up at the biggest moment, and it starts with Kitty Henderson. She knows as the point guard, time and score. Shot clock's getting skinny, so she puts it on the floor and kisses it off the glass. And then the answer by Almquist drives it to get the and one.
Almquist to the line, went for 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists in the Ivy semifinal last season. Finishes off the 3-point play. She's got 13 to lead Penn in scoring, 14 for Rafu, the Columbia High. Henderson on the drive on Almquist. Count it, and the foul. Getting the continuation and a chance for a 3-point play, although the officials are having a conversation and they say no baskets.
I agree with that, but that was a great play and even better read by Kitty Henderson. There was a back screen, and it just parted the seas, and Kitty Henderson recognizes it and drives it to the rim.
So no chance for an and one. It will be Columbia basketball on the baseline.
One area for Columbia all season long is they've been so good on baseline out of bounds plays.
Weiss finds the open shooter. The three-pointer is short from Page. Just a 22% three-point shooter, so not the first option for Columbia, even though she was wide open. And it's Penn basketball, final minute of the third quarter. Almquist. Almquist shut off by Page. Collins is fouled by Weiss.
And Eric, it's subtle, but Almquist not passing out to the wing. She saw out of the corner of her eye the rotation, was more patient, and then kicked it out to Collins.
That's 2 on Weiss, but Columbia is over the limit, so Collins will go to the free throw line. It's been a quiet day for the Ivy League Rookie of the Year. 9-time Rookie of the Week this season. Katie Collins, 1 of 7 from the field, steps up to the free throw line. Makes the first. She was held in check the first 2 games against Columbia this season. 13 total points, 5 of 14 shooting. Again, Columbia doing a good job against Collins, who makes the second free throw.
I'm going to guess what, there are 11 weeks in the Ivy season this year?
Give or take.
That's how dominant Katie Collins has been in terms of
9 Rookie of the Week awards.
Yes.
Simmons to the bench for Columbia. Penn will bring some pressure into the backcourt. And Columbia is going to have to bring Simmons back out, and Weiss will stay on the bench for now.
Well, and for Penn, they were able to get Gale on the bench, try to avoid that fourth. And falling back into his zone now, Penn is.
Mike McLaughlin telling him from the bench, hands up in the zone. Team listens, 10 on the shot clock.
Oh, yes, turnover.
Yeah, traveling violation, so a mistake by Columbia, shaken ahead by Megan Griffith on the Columbia bench. Penn will get Gale, the point guard, back on the floor here for the final possession, they hope, of this third quarter.
And so immediately Columbia extending their pressure. Huge possession for Penn. Can they get this to single digits going into the fourth?
Six seconds to go for Gale. Down the 4. Open 3 on the way. Doesn't drop in, and that will do it for the quarter. Penn bench is up, looking for a foul, but we will head to the benches at the end of 3.
Can they convert it into points and cut into this lead?
Raffu is on. Page to the bench for Columbia. On the cut to the basket, the finish by Gale, the feed by Almquist.
And I think that might have been a new play because Columbia was giving the signal to one another and no one really knew what was coming.
Started with Kitty Henderson. She was yelling out at the top after hearing the play call for Penn, but Penn executed it. Columbia couldn't stop it. And the Quakers are now down by 7. Can they get another stop here? Raffu's been good inside. 4 on the shot clock. Down to 3. Collins on the run. Couldn't get it. Almquist has the rebound. Penn gets the stop. 11-2 run for the Quakers, and a foul called in the backcourt on Broom.
Where we talk about it all the time, these teams know one another. It doesn't matter. It comes down to execution. Gale comes tight off of the back screen. That was a great pass by Almquist. Led her to the rim for that 2.
Second personal on Broom. She stays in the game. Almquist, Collins, Gale. That's been the big three for Penn, and they go to work together, but Almquist couldn't hit on the inside. Now Broom on the push. Through the legs, look at that pass! Columbia has thrown a couple of passes on the highlight reel in this game. Back to a 9-point lead for the Lions.
Like I remember telling you yesterday as we were watching these teams play, Broom's open court speed with a ball in her hands, impressive. And then when you're live and you see it, it's even more remarkable.
Broom to Collins, through the legs for the two. 6.5 to go in the fourth. 4 on the shot clock. Gale just looked up at it. She's going to have to hoist it. Didn't hit anything. It'll be a shot clock violation. All right, we saw Henderson with the behind-the-back bounce. How about through the legs by Broom?
It's just madness. It's Ivy madness, and it is Broom that beautifully, and then some people try to be a showboat. I actually think that was a smart basketball move because if she goes around, it's too slow of a feed. Tremendous pass by Broom.
Columbia with the ball and the lead, up by 9, approaching 6 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. The winner to play for the championship tomorrow, Cecilia Collins, gets called for the offensive foul as Gretsch took the contact.
Set play by Columbia on the block there to try to get Cecilia Collins off of the arm ball, and she recognizes the overplay, goes baseline, but Gretsch beats her to the spot.
What does Penn draw up here against Columbia defense inside of 6 minutes to go? Gale, blocked by Henderson, the defensive player of the year in the Ivy, came up with the stop. Columbia on the run. Here they are in transition, and Penn once again gets back well on defense. Broom. Hesitation to the basket, but couldn't get it to drop. Cecilia Collins on the glass. And a whistle before the shot by Raffu, and a foul called on Gretsch for Penn. That's her fourth. For the moment, Gretsch staying on the floor, but hustling off the bench for Penn. It is Brooke Suttle, so Gretsch, the senior, will head to the bench. On the baseline, out of bounds play. It's a layup for Henderson, the feed from Collins. 9 points now for Kitty Henderson, the senior from Australia. Gale, open three, is good. Does seem like she's playing freely now, but there's a fine line between playing freely and forcing. But that was in rhythm, knocked it down, big three to make it an 8-point game.
And it was a great read by Gale. She recognized her defender went under, and so she stopped and popped.
Long pass to Henderson. Inside of 5 minutes to go in semifinal number 1. Henderson to the corner, Cecilia Collins hangs in the air, off the window, no. Rebound by Gale, saved it. Great play by Gale to get it done for Penn, and here come the Quakers. Is this a play for Gale? Henderson all over, Gale with the kick. And stepping out of bounds was Sawyer, turnover Penn.
He's impacting both ends of the floor for the Quakers.
Columbia basketball out of the media timeout. Here is Henderson. Off for Page. Raffu wants to drive on Almquist. Down she goes. Rebound by Gale. Now, there was a faking being fouled warning given to Penn earlier this half, but they let them play on. Gale with the dish. Off the window for two. It's the freshman from New Jersey, Collins.
Well, and credit Gale. This is why I say she's so important to this offense. Her ability to create off the bounce, force rotations. That's why Collins was open on the weak side.
2-possession game inside of 4 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Weiss on the drive. Got around Collins for two. 6 points now for Weiss. That's her first field goal of the game. Leading scorer for this team at 18 points a game. Second in the Ivy, has been held in check. Three-pointer for Penn. It was a big part of their offense in the first half. Collins on the follow, no. Look who's there on the follow, though. Brooke Subtle. There's been nothing subtle about her performance today. She has been an impact player, someone who didn't play a ton in the regular season.
I like the wordsmith there. But Subtle is just making her impact felt. We talked about her filling minutes in the first half. Well, she's not filling minutes anymore. She's making the impact this time with the offensive rebound.
Go through her minutes numbers again in the regular season.
6.2 to be exact.
In 17 games, by the way. It's not like she played in every game this season. This is game number 28 on the season for the Quakers. But the freshman from Atlanta playing very well.
And he averaged 1.2 points per game.
Approaching 3 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Here is Henderson. Henderson and Cecilia Collins, the seniors for this team. And a foul is going to be called on Penn on the reach-in on Henderson.
We've seen this a couple of times now from Columbia. They run Henderson off of that UCLA back screen, and then she gets the post up. I thought Sawyer was going to be able to get the steal, but just came through the body a little bit too much.
2 team fouls on the Quakers, 3 on Columbia, inside of 3 minutes to play in the fourth.
And I want to go back to something you said in the first quarter. As good as this Columbia team is offensively, they struggle from the free throw line. Might that come into play in these last 3 minutes?
61% as a team last in the Ivy. Tough shot by Weiss, couldn't get it, and the rebound for Sawyer. Here's Gale playing like she's the best player on the court here in this second half. Subtle makes the pass. Collins couldn't get it, and a foul is going to be called on Raffu for Columbia on the box out.
I go back to something Mike McLaughlin said to us yesterday. He doesn't think Collins is ever going to be this proficient scorer because she just doesn't really hunt buckets, but she moves without the ball at the most critical time for the Quakers to draw the foul.
Collins back out to Gale. Gale shut off by Page. And a turnover. Penn cannot afford turnovers this late in the game, in a tight game, and Henderson back the other way. Raffu couldn't get it the first time. Collins for Weiss. Weiss on the pull-up was fouled. She'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Credit Perry Page with that defensive stop by Columbia. She forced the turnover that allowed Columbia to get out and run in transition.
So it took a while, but Gale finally picks up her 4th personal foul. It comes with 2:07 to go here in the 4th. Cecilia Collins will head to the bench for Columbia as Ari Bola comes on. And here is Weiss to shoot 2. 89% from the free throw line. She had made 33 of her last 34 in the regular season, but remember, she got fouled taking a 3 in the first half, missed all 3. Just one of those little indications that Columbia maybe was a little tight. Number 1 seed, different spot for them, but they relaxed after that first quarter. But give all the credit to Penn right now because they did not lay down when they fell behind by 17. They dug in and fought. Now down by 8 with 2:07 to go.
And so you don't need to jack up threes, but you need to go with some pace here.
Moving Gale off the ball for the moment. Now she's got it. Almquist has been good in the second half, 9 of her 15 points since halftime. Inside of 2 minutes to play in the 4th.
Good defense by Columbia.
Yes, not much happening right now, and Mike McLaughlin will take a timeout with 9 on the shot clock. And basketball, 9 on the shot clock. Here's Caldwell. They look for Gale. Gale on the dribble, nowhere to go, shut off. Great job by Columbia defensively. And here come the lines across half court. Now, where does Columbia look on this possession?
They look to milk as much clock as possible. They want to get this into the teens before they look for a shot.
Riley Weiss says, I'll take this 3. and misses it. So Penn, door still open here for the Quakers, but they got to push through it quickly here. Gale recognizing that, finds another gear and finds the basket for two. Quakers will use. One thing that Penn has in their back pocket is fouling. We've talked about it. Columbia's struggling at the free throw line. They've got Raffu on the court right now. She's a 39% free throw shooter.
They're going long.
Well, they give it to Raffu.
I would foul Raffu immediately.
Absolutely. Penn still has a foul to give, so she wouldn't have been at the free throw line yet, but you got to get to the point where you give up this foul. Maybe not at this point, but time is winding down. Collins to Henderson, defended by Almquist. Henderson wants to go one-on-one, can't get it to drop. The rebound and the putback and a foul. That will send Raffu to the free throw line to shoot two with 46.9 to go. Raffu at the line. You know they're holding their breath because Columbia knows the number this season. 39% in the regular season from the free throw line, 18 of 46. But 3 for 5 today, a deep breath. And looking to make it back-to-back at the line, and she does. Maybe 39% in the regular season, but the postseason is something different. She has matched her career high with 16 points here today.
Penn's got to go. Too much time's going off the clock.
Gale looking for something to develop. Almquist on the drive, leans in and one. Big bucket there for Stina Almquist, and a chance for a three-point play.
Where this was a set to run Almquist off the flare screen to the weak side. She gets run off the three-point line, and she smartly puts it on the deck and drives hard to the rim. Now she's got the opportunity from a three-point play from the free throw line.
Almquist set to go to the free throw line. 79% on the season. That's 5th in the Ivy. Officials are having a conversation right now.
My gut says this is a defensive substitution for Penn to get Gale out of the game because they know they have to foul.
I don't know if the officials are just confirming the foul and who should be at the free throw line here. And it has gotten library quiet inside of the Pizzatola Center as they try to figure out what's happening. And it's going to be Caldwell going back to the bench from the scorer's table.
Well, Caldwell, I do believe, was still trying to come in for Gale, but because she was at the table, she had to come in immediately. That's why he sent her back to the bench.
Almquist cannot finish off the three-point play. Columbia will take a timeout, and they'll advance the ball into the front.
Get in. She wants to be close to that official.
Anderson, little trouble getting it in. Weiss in a very tough spot. Is dribbling right near midcourt, and now Penn gets called for the foul. That will be the 4th team foul. Number 1 all-time assists at Columbia. This is the first. Number 6 all-time scoring. Number 2 all-time steals. One of the great all-time players. Number 1 in wins with 98.
And as a reminder, Columbia is the 6th best offensive rebounding team in the country, so Penn must get a box out here.
They did with Almquist. Remember, Penn has used up their timeouts, confirming that, yes, Penn out of timeout, so they cannot advance it. Gale finds an opening, can't get it. Rebound by Kitty Henderson, and a reach-in foul. I think that's Gale, and that should be 5. But she's to the bench now, and Henderson back to the line to shoot 2.
And this is something Columbia has done for years. The 4 players not shooting the free throw huddle up, get on the same page, and then they break to go in for that second free throw.
Again, a miss at the free throw line has not hurt Columbia so far. 17.1 to go. Anderson does get the final one. She's in the double figures now with 10, and Columbia will keep some pressure on in the backcourt, trying to work some clock down here for Penn. Almquist on the push. Collins launches for 3 and rattles it home. 10.1 to go. Timeout called by Columbia to advance it. Penn will... Henderson and Raffu are on the court. Again, we talked about the free throw shooting issues for Columbia. Henderson will trigger the inbound. Gets it into Broom, who is fouled. Sawyer there on the reach, and Broom will go to the free throw line. Hasn't been there a lot this year, 11 of 14 on the season. But the first year from Seattle in a big spot here with a spot in the Ivy Tournament Championship game on the line with 8.7 to go. Perfect for the first. A reminder, Penn out of timeouts. 8.7 to go. Math not adding up for the Quakers at the moment. And Broom makes the equation a little tougher.
And Megan Griffith gets a sub in for the shooter so she can get the defense set.
Tomby will come on for Penn. So the Quakers getting some shooters on the floor here. They need a 3, a steal, and a 3 to force overtime. Stranger things have happened. 8.7 to go. Here's Caldwell. Penn's got to go. They've got to score quickly from 3. Caldwell has it blocked on the outside. Collins has it, and Columbia will play for the Ivy Tournament Championship tomorrow.
Well, very fitting that Kitty Henderson gets